if you follow the narratives on social media and everywhere, the operatives of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission got to his house. The operatives, even from what he himself said, at least online and the rest, the operatives identified themselves and said they had orders from above to arrest him or to invite him to the commission, whichever, that depends on the side of the story you want to believe. Now, according to Senator Rochas, he asked for a warrant and either they didn't show him or they didn't have, and he decided to barricade himself inside the house. Now, you see, there are certain things that I think that we as Nigerians, we have to pay attention to. We have to, understand in these issues. A few months ago, the outcry was about the NAFDAC's invasion of private residences, and the NAFDAC spokesman said something that was key. He said, if you read the act, the enabling act creating NAFDAC, mere presentation of their ID card is sufficient. It suffices as a search warrant. So, in this instance, I believe that before Senator Okorocha got to the point of asking them if they have a warrant or whatever, they had identified themselves to him. Now, at that point, I think that any right-thinking individual, especially one who is aspiring to be the president of Nigeria, that person, at that point, owed himself and the country he aspires to lead a duty to follow these operatives to their office, to answer their summons. So my problem to a large extent with the narrative is it being made to look as if the EFCC just came into the compound and began. If you look at the videos that surfaced online, the live videos, you discover that the EFCC tried to gain access to his property for a while before they took the step of, breaking his roof. And our laws are quite clear on some of these things. The laws make it clear that the laws make it clear that when security agencies go to effect arrest, they are allowed to use reasonable force. They are allowed to use reasonable but minimal force. Now, of course, the definitions of some of these things are subjective. It depends on what side of the divide you stand on or how you view the situation. But in my opinion, barricading himself in his house, for me, I think he just wanted to whip up public sentiments. The only problem I have with EFCC on that day was that there were videos that claimed to show the EFCC operatives beating up Rocha's children and things like that. And if that happened, I think that his family and those involved have the right and a duty to seek justice. There are already several cases in court. EFCC has filed, I think, 2 different cases against Senator Rochas. In one case, I don't know whether that case was concluded or something. I don't have the facts of that case, so I would not like to speak to them now. And then there are also judgments of the court gotten by Senator Rochas, basically, in summary, asking the EFCC to leave him alone. But the EFCC's own argument is that the investigations under question are different. And now, speaking about legal means, the only other legal means available is to go to court. And you see, how do you enforce judgments or orders of the courts? You do that via the security agencies. The EFCC was in court against Senator Rochas. Senator Rochas had deliberately not attended those particular court cases. And the judge made it clear that he was going to strike out the case. So the next legal means was what the EFCC did yesterday, some days ago, which is to come with security operatives attached to them and invite him or arrest him, as the case may be, as a lawmaker, as a 2-term governor of a state, and one who for long has aspired to lead this country. I mean, as far back as 2002, 2003, he contested for the presidential elections on the platform of the Action Alliance. I think that going the way he went, for me, there is no other legal recourse that the EFCC could have taken, short of what they did yesterday. This Senator Okorocha's issue with EFCC and with the 2 his two successors in the state has been on for at least 3 years now. From the moment, in fact, before he left office, it had been on. So if we want to say that because of his presidential ambition, EFCC was used, then we might also say that on the other hand, all this noise is being made. Some people might also come out and try to argue that seeing that these problems had been there, he decided to contest for the presidential seat to protect himself. EFCC did not charge Rochas to court yesterday. They didn't charge him to court in January. They charged him to court last year. And now we are at the point and then somehow this thing has dragged. Mostly due to Senator Okorocha's refusal to answer this. Rather than answer the EFCC summons, in most cases he has gone to court. So we cannot say that, oh, why is it happening now? Why not now? At what point should it happen? The security agencies represent an institution. And if the people are having, to an extent, legitimate issues, and now if the general populace is having legitimate issues about how the security agencies carry out their concerns, that's a different case. But when a leader begins to behave the way he's behaving, he's sending a message to his followers as to how to behave. He owes himself, he owes his followers, he owes Nigerians a point of duty to support the security agencies, even when their actions are against him.